now it's been 50 years since Fawlty Towers was first recorded right here at Television Centre. Yeah. John Cleese is bringing the stage version of the absolutely legendary sitcom back to London's West End. It was right here in this building, wasn't it?
Yeah, in December '74. Can you believe that?
I can't.
The first
really.
show. And it was very nice because my closest friend, who was usually very critical, he came to the pilot show, and he said afterwards, he said it was very good.
Which is a lovely thing. I mean, it still baffles me that you only made 12.
Yeah, but that's...
Why did you do that?
The whole key to Fawlty... I've just been writing a book about this to celebrate the 50th.
Yeah.
And the whole key was that we took so much time over it.
Right.
You see, Connie Booth and I used to take 6 weeks to write every episode.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. People won't do more than 10 days. But having good ideas is not something you can do like that. You have to wait and just see when they come along. And the more good ideas you have, then the funnier the script. But that means you've got to wait. And people in those days, you got paid so little. I think Connie and I got paid 500 each for the script.
No.
Oh, yeah. And they used
so what would that be now? That would be... perhaps 10,000?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was kind of a joke. When I started on the Frost Report with Ronnie Barker, Ronnie Corbett, I used to get £70 a show.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you really?
But you didn't work in those days for the money.
Right.
You knew that you would not get paid very much. We used to say that the BBC had its own tartan small checks. You know, but it was the place where the best programmes were made, so that's why you wanted to be on there.
And I guess that love and that passion is why we all still love it so much, isn't it?
It's got to be done with love. It has to be done because you love doing it, and the money takes over more and more, and money spoils everything eventually.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah.
But the last time I met you was in 2011 when you were on your alimony tour, where you had, the first thing you said on stage was, I'm just doing this for the money, to pay for the exes.
Well,
How does that
had to give it $20 million. And the thing is, a bit of advice to people, if you're going to have an expensive divorce, have it when you're 40, not when you're 70, right?
Because then you have to keep working at a time when you perhaps would have rather been relaxing.
You're just doing nothing, which is my favourite way of passing the time,
Now, look, it was a huge hit in the West End, wasn't it, Fawlty Towers?
It was, and it was wonderful because people didn't think it would work, you see.
Is that because you're... Well, yes, it was of... Well, the thing is, it isn't of its time. It's still funny now. That I saw that clip and I laughed instantly because I'd forgotten that bit. So it isn't of its time. It stands the test of time. But what was it like for you watching someone else play Basil Fawlty and also for the audience?
It was funny. So I think of myself as a writer. People think of me as a performer, but I'm fundamentally a writer. And I've already seen Stephen Hall in Australia playing Basil. And then Adam comes along and plays Basil. And now Danny Payne's going to play Basil. And what I notice is it's always slightly different.
Right.
And I enjoy it each time slightly differently.
So you don't feel precious over it?
No, I mean, I don't have to remember the lines. If I had to remember the lines, I wouldn't enjoy it anything like so much. You know, I'm sitting in my box and I'm watching them being extraordinarily good, that cast. And I'm watching the audience. And the audience aren't laughing. They're laughing like that. They're rocking with laughter. And I really felt, this is good. You know? And you could see people at the beginning of the theatre coming in being very British and a little bit shy, and at the end they're all sort of looking round and joking with people. Laughter's really good for us, and I've always been surprised. I do these Comic-Cons that people say to me, thank you for helping me through difficult times.
Gosh, that's lovely,
and
isn't
people
it?
forget that comedy can have that effect.
Well, it's interesting because, of course, Monty Python is also celebrating 50 years and you're going back on tour in America as well to celebrate that. What do you think about comedy now, John? Because, you know, it is a different world we live in. I think one episode of Fawlty Towers, the Germans briefly got cancelled, didn't it? They felt people couldn't cope with it and then they reinstated it.
The only people who never worried about that were the Germans.
They never worried about it?
Never. Well, when I went to Cologne, where we actually made a version of Fawlty Towers in German.
Right.
The first thing they showed me was the Fawlty Towers German episode. First thing I did when I arrived. And they always thought it was funny. And I was in a hotel in Hamburg, and I was chatting to the concierge, and a great fat Bavarian businessman shouted to me, "Hey, John, don't mention the war, huh?" And the whole hotel laughed, and I thought, that's it.
So what do you think now when you're writing comedy now, if you still want to, what do you think about the sensation that audiences react very differently, or do you find that they don't?
Happy. If you tell a joke at a party and everyone laughs, you like it, they like it, everyone's happy.
What if somebody's offended, though? Because that's what comedians worry about.
I think they should just go away and be offended on their own.
Right.
You know? I'm offended all the time by most of the things that are happening in the world at the moment, but I'm not out there trying to stop it. And if you find some kind of humour funny, that's fine. If somebody else disapproves of it, well, that's a problem. You've got to remember that the Puritans are very literal-minded.
Right.
And comedy is very subtle, and it's about context, and they don't get a lot of it. So how can they say you mustn't laugh at that just because they don't see the funny?
Right. Yeah.
I feel very strongly about it.
Do you?
Well, it's so good for us, laughter. You know, the physiological effect is. And I was in Sarajevo, where they were under siege by the Serbs for 4 years, lobbying, and they hired an underground car park, turned it into a cinema, and in the evening, when it was safe to cross the streets, because they didn't have Serbs up there, they went to there and they watched a lot of comedy. I'm proud to say, a lot of Monty Python.
Did they really?
And they said, afterwards, we felt better, but nothing had changed.
No.
But the laughter had moved them to a part of themselves where they could better cope with the appalling things that were going on around. And that's the effect that...
I think that they've proven it, haven't they? There's a chemical release in the body, and there's a connection with humanity as well. When you laugh, it's a connection with somebody,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
You laugh with the people around you. And you see, well, this is why pompous people don't like comedy, because comedy is very democratic. When you start laughing with someone, there's no sort of difference in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And that's why if you've got a waiter in a restaurant, you make a joke at the start, he suddenly thinks, oh, he's treating me like a human being. You see what I mean?
I love this, John. I could talk to you all day. The producers are screaming.
I could talk to myself all day, too.
Could you? You're not talking to yourself, you're talking to me. And everybody watching absolutely will have loved that. Good luck.
Laughter is good for us.
Laughter is good for us. And Fawlty Towers, which you will laugh at, returns at London's Apollo Theatre on the 24th of June before beginning a UK tour in September. John, what an absolute pleasure.
It's going to be in the West End for 12 more weeks.
That is fantastic.
And then
we'll all come along.
Bromley, I think it is.
Yeah,
in September. Yeah.
John, huge pleasure. You're a hero. It was fun.
You see?
You see? I'm feeling great already.
Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.